The Krell war fleet had been hunting the human research vessel Wanderer's Hope for 3 standard cycles. When they finally cornered it near the asteroid belt of Sigma-7, Commander Zixthor thought victory was assured. The humans were scientists, not warriors. Their ship was damaged, leaking atmosphere, and drifting helplessly toward the barren moon below. Prepare boarding parties. Zixthor clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. Take them alive. The collective wants to study how these soft-skinned weaklings conquered so many worlds. What the Krell didn't know was that the Wanderer's Hope carried more than scientists. It carried families. And among those families was 6-year-old Ken, son of the ship's xenobiologist, Dr. Sarah Chen. The impact of the Krell's plasma torpedoes threw Ken from his mother's arms. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, separating sections of the dying ship. When the chaos settled, Ken found himself alone in the cargo bay, clutching his backpack and crying for his mother. The only other living thing with him was Mia. Not a human girl, but a honey badger, smuggled aboard as an illegal Earth pet by one of the crew members. Mia had bonded with Ken during the long journey. The boy would sneak her treats, and she would curl up near him during rest periods. Now, as the cargo bay's hull groaned and buckled, Mia pressed close to the terrified child, her dark eyes alert and watchful. The escape pod Ken's mother had been trying to reach was gone, jettisoned during the attack. The cargo bay's exterior doors had been compromised, and through the twisted metal, Ken could see the dusty surface of the moon rushing closer. The Wanderer's Hope was going down. The crash was violent but survivable. The cargo bay, being one of the most reinforced sections, held together. Ken was thrown against padded supply crates, bruised but alive. Mia tumbled beside him, snarling at the indignity of being tossed about. When the grinding, shrieking halt finally came, they found themselves in near darkness, emergency lights flickering weakly overhead. Ken was crying now, calling for his mother, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. Mia nuzzled against him, making soft, chittering sounds, as close to comforting as a honey badger could manage. Above them, Krell dropships descended like metallic vultures. Commander Zixthor's ground forces spread across the crash site with military precision. The Krell were renowned throughout the galaxy as efficient predators, 2 meters of scaled muscle, armed with plasma weapons and centuries of conquest experience. They had exterminated species that had begged for mercy. A handful of human survivors would pose no challenge. They breached the cargo bay within minutes. Ken heard the cutting torches first, then the hiss of hydraulics as the Krell forced open an entry point. Bright lights flooded in, and he scrambled behind a stack of supply containers, pulling Mia with him. The honey badger's body had gone rigid, her fur bristling. "Scan complete," one of the Krell soldiers reported in their clicking language. "Life signs detected. 1 small human. No adults present. A juvenile." Zixthor's voice crackled over their communicators. "Excellent. The youngling will be valuable for study. Retrieve it." 6 Krell warriors advanced into the cargo bay, their weapons raised but set to stun. They had orders to capture, not kill. Through their helmet sensors, they tracked the small heat signature huddled behind the containers. "Come out, human spawn," one of them called in heavily accented standard. "Resistance is futile. You will not be harmed if you comply." Ken pressed himself further back, tears streaming down his face. Mia stood in front of him now, her body low, a rumbling growl building. In her chest that sounded far too large for her compact frame, first Krell soldier rounded the container, stack, and saw them. A small human child and what appeared to be a strange, furry earth creature no bigger than a medium-sized predator pup. The soldier almost laughed. He reached forward with his scaled hand. Mia moved. What happened next would later be described by surviving Krell as the incident and would fundamentally change how the galaxy viewed Earth's fauna. Mia launched herself at the Krell's outstretched arm with a fury that defied her size. Her teeth, designed by millions of years of evolution to crack open beehives and tear through prey much larger than herself, punched through the soldier's combat armor like it was paper. The Krell screamed, a sound his kind rarely made, as the honey badger climbed his arm, claws shredding synthetic mesh and scale alike. "Fire! Fire!" the soldier shrieked, but his companions hesitated, afraid of hitting their own. Mia reached the Krell's throat and bit down with savage precision. The soldier collapsed. The other Krell opened fire, but honey badgers had not survived Earth's most hostile environments by being easy to kill. Mia was already moving, a blur of black and white fur and unbridled rage. She ducked under plasma bolts that would have vaporized her, using the cargo containers as cover with tactical instinct that seemed almost intelligent. Another Krell went down, his knee joint destroyed by Mia's teeth, then another, his helmet's vision port torn away, his eyes raked by claws that had once dug through concrete-hard termite mounds. "What is this creature?" one soldier screamed into his communicator. "It won't stop. It won't die." Mia didn't understand fear. Honey badgers didn't have that programming. She understood only that something was threatening her young companion, and nothing in the galaxy would make her back down. The cargo bay became a nightmare for the Krell. Their sophisticated weapons and armor meant nothing against an opponent that was too small, too fast, too impossibly ferocious. Mia tore through them with the efficiency of a natural predator protecting its young, which, in a sense, she was. When the first squad fell silent, Zixthor sent in 2 more. Then 3. The cargo bay echoed with the sounds of plasma fire, Krill screams, and one continuous terrifying snarl. High above, Ken's mother Sarah had reached a functional communications array in another section of the wreckage. Her distress call was picked up by a human patrol ship, the UNS Retribution, only 3 hours away at maximum burn. By the time the Retribution arrived, 12 Krell soldiers were dead or incapacitated. The remainder had retreated from the cargo bay entirely, setting up a perimeter but refusing to enter. Commander Zixthor watched through drone feeds as the small Earth creature paced back and forth in front of the human child, blood-matted but utterly unbroken. "What manner of demon have these humans bred?" Zixthor whispered. When human Marines breached the Krell perimeter, they found Ken crying but unharmed, clutching Mia to his chest. The honey badger was exhausted, wounded in a dozen places but still alert, still ready to fight. The story spread across the galaxy within days. An Earth creature barely 30 pounds had held off an entire Krell assault force. Xenobiologists scrambled to study honey badger behavior. Military strategists reassessed their understanding of human combat companions. But for Ken, none of that mattered. As his mother held him aboard the Retribution, Mia curled up beside them both, finally allowing herself to rest. She had protected her human. That was enough. The galaxy learned an important lesson that day. Humans were dangerous not just because of their technology or their tactics, but because they came from a world that bred creatures of impossible courage. And when those creatures loved a human, nothing in the universe could stand in their way.